Find the volume given the surface area. If the surface area of a cone is 333 inches squared, what is its volume? Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So again, I'm going to underline round to the nearest hundredth because that's important to us. Let's take a look at this problem. We want to find the volume, and if I look down at the picture, I'm missing the slant height and missing the regular height, but I have the radius. Well, that's good. At least I have something. I also know that the surface area of the cone is 333 square inches. So I know the surface area. And we want to find the volume. So let's recall the volume formula for a cone is 1/3 times pi r squared times h. We need to find the height in order to find the volume. And in order to get the height, we have to do something before we can even start to figure out the height. We need to find the slant height. So our first step is going to be to find the slant height, which is the L. Our second step is then going to be to use Pythagorean Theorem, as we saw in the previous example, to find the height. Okay, let's begin. So for first off, to find the slant height, let's use that surface area formula. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L, and let's solve for L. So if I substitute the information I know the surface area is 333. I know for pi I use 3.14 times 6 squared plus 3.14 times 6 times L. If I do 3.14 times 6 squared, I get 113.04. And if I do 3.14 times 6, I get 18.84 times L. Now if I want to solve for L, I want to subtract 113.04 from 333 and then divide by 18.84. Notice I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth every time because that's what my directions said. And finally, I'll get the slant height to be 11.67 inches. So that's my slant height, 11.67 inches. Now I know two sides of my right triangle to enable me to use Pythagorean Theorem. Here's my triangle. The radius is 6, the height is h, and the slant height is 11.67. Let's set up Pythagorean Theorem. We would have h squared plus 6 squared equals 11.67 squared. If I solve this out and do 11.67 squared and subtract 36 from it, I get h squared equals approximately 100.19. And since that's clearly not a perfect square, I take the square root of it, and I get an answer that's going to be really close to 10. In fact, the answer is 10.01. This is my regular height. I'm going to put this in inches. So I'm going to draw that into my picture. Now let's take that information and put it into the volume formula. Volume equals 1/3 times 3.14 times 6 squared times height, 10.01. If I multiply that out and I do 1/3 times 3.14 times 36 times 10.01, I get 377.18 inches cubed. And again, that's the volume of this cone ends up being 377.18 inches cubed.